Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Navneet. I'm Dr. Navneet Mago, and I presently head the Division of Reconstructive and Cosmetic Gynecology at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Rishikesh. AIMS is an institute of national importance for India and for our friends across the globe. If I may put it, it is what Harvard is to United States, what Oxford is to United Kingdom. The same is the positioning of AIMS for India. I also happen to be the vice president elect for the American College of Cosmetic Gynecology. And also, I have been invited to join as the Dean of the Royal College of Cosmetic Gynecology very soon.
Very
So,
nice.
primarily, I'm a gynecologist. I've worked with the Indian Armed Forces for almost 2 decades, and I have behind me exposure of teaching and training in the United States, in a bigger part of Europe, in Africa, Casablanca to be precise, in parts of Middle East, and obviously Asia.
Like you are a gynecologist, sir, but you are a super specialist in your field. So can you explain us what is it that you do exactly to help the women who will come to see you?
If I put it in one line, I help the women to relive and revive their femininity and sexuality. So that is exactly my job, is to turn her back to what she was when she was 16 years or 18 years of age. So primarily now, I focus only on reconstructive and cosmetic gynecology, and that is what we do. We eat, we breathe, we sleep. Now, if I talk about different parts of it, so in the reconstructive gynecology, we work on women who have got urinary incontinence, like women who leak urine when they cough, when they sneeze, when they cycle, when they are horse riding, or when they're having sex or intercourse and they leak urine. So we take care of them, we treat them, and we fix them up, and we fix their leakages. We also help victims of female genital mutilation absolute reconstruction, and try to help them live back as normal lives and as much normal sexuality as they can have. Now, the cosmetic gynecology part is the major part of our working, if we leave apart the urinary incontinence. So here we do various things. We do surgical procedures, we do non-surgical procedures. The maximum women which we treat for is normally for vaginal rejuvenation, tightening the vaginas, and helping them have better orgasms, deeper orgasms, easier orgasms, and more importantly, also to help their sexual partners have more pleasure and the sense of having a better sex. So that is what we do. We also do procedures on the G spot amplification, G-spot plasty, give G-shots and all that stuff, which helps in getting, deeper orgasms again for the women to again, to relive their femininity and sexuality. Then a lot of women come here to us for getting labiaplasties done, labia majora plasties and minora plasties. A majority of them do come for cosmetic purposes. They want to change their aesthetic appearance, and just like a lot of women want to fix their noses, their eyebrows, their lips, their cheeks. So they want to get their vaginas and vulvas also fixed up and try to give them a better look than what they have already. It's not that they have something abnormal. No, they don't have abnormal, but they have a variant of normal which they don't like, and they want to have a more beautiful variant of normal. Like we do something when we go out, because we want to have and present a better self to the world and for our own self-esteem. So similarly, a lot, I must say, a lot and lot of women across the globe, they reach out to me to get a better themselves down there where it actually matters for what they do everything. A lot of women do come for labiaplasty also for functional reasons. And whatsoever we say, we call it cosmetic gynecology, but I have always believed that it is just the name cosmetic, because it is not like the other cosmetic surgery of breast or the face or the lips or chins. It is the cosmetic surgery of genitalia, which is in expectation of a better sexual function. So it is majorly functional, just namely cosmetic, but absolutely functional with when it comes to expectations of the women and their partners who come to us for their treatments. There are a lot of other procedures. We use lasers, we use radio frequencies, we use other, energy-based devices. We do a lot of surgery on various small things like the frenulum, the clitoris, the clitoral hood, expose the clitoris absolutely precisely what it is required to help her get a better orgasm, because most of the orgasms are clitoral. They're not vaginal. So, we help women relive their sexuality and help them experience what being a woman means.
So also part of your job is reconstruction virginity.
Absolutely, goes without saying.
Can you tell us a number, sir, a number of the women who comes for this type of procedures, like in terms of statistics? Can you tell us some numbers?
The statistics, we haven't actually worked on the recent statistics, because in the COVID there was a big lockdown and we have recently opened. But let me tell you, if someone is coming to show me today, I am not able to give her an appointment for surgery till next 3 months. That is how overbooked we are as of today. The world is just opening up. We have patients, who come from various parts of the country, because I must share with you that we are the only university department of reconstructive and cosmetic gynecology in the world. We are the first and we are the only official department. And we also have a MCH course in cosmetic gynecology, which is akin to a super specialty residency fellowship program for 3 years. And I happen to be the program director and the guide for that super specialty fellowship program. And again, we are the only center in the whole world presently who offers it. So, anyone who wants to get the correct services, the most scientifically authentic services from across the globe is reaching out to us. So we the statistics are, every day we are running OPDs, we are seeing patients every day, and we are, we have regular surgeries, we have regular ORs. Still, I am not able to give a surgical appointment to a patient today if I see her less than 3 months.
So now, in terms of doctors who will also would like to learn or learn from you or become like you, sir, what do you offer to them?
Absolutely. This is a very important question which you have asked me, Dr. Faris, because, across the globe, what happened that the teaching and training of cosmetic gynecology started flourishing like pure business and not science. I always say all of us do business, and our work is our business, as they call in the United States. But the medical business has to be built up on strong scientific foundations. The foundation has to be strongly scientific. And anything which is not taught in a medical school or university is not medicine, not proven medicine. So we need to train the people in the right manner, give them the correct training, the correct education, and teach them the correct scientific terminologies, scientific way of treating patients, and the correct surgical technique. Now, very important is to also abolish use of deceptive training and deceptive techniques and deceptive terminology in cosmetic plastic gynecology. Because as I would like to take this opportunity to share with you, a lot of people have been using words in this field, which are a little, degrading for women. They don't like. No one wants to, be said that, okay, I'm getting a designer vagina done, or I'm getting some Barbie labia done. No, this is something which I don't approve of. We don't use such terminologies, because I'm sure no man would like to have a designer penis, or a kind of some tomboy penis. It is these are medical things. We're doctors. We don't run beauty parlors. We're not beauticians. We are surgeons. And as a cosmetic plastic gynecologist and head of the university division of cosmetic plastic gynecology, I think it's my moral responsibility towards the women across the globe. And not only that, also to the teaching and training of cosmetic gynecology, that all doctors who want to learn these techniques should learn in an absolute scientific manner. We are now thinking, because we were busy in establishing this department and this specialty, and because it was a Herculean task, we were the first in the world to do it. Now we are thinking of opening our doors for short-term trainings, with a certification from our establishments, so that the doctors are trained in the right manner. They know what to do, and more importantly, they know what not to do, because it's always said that as a surgeon, you only mature when you know when not to do a surgery and which procedure not to do. So we have to help women with what they want, but in an absolutely scientific way, keeping care of medical knowledge, scientific integrity, and good skill training.
So I understand from your talks that you're giving a course right now to who is interested in the field where he can learn and get from your experience, right, sir? You can give them some on-field, on-site.
We now intend to initiate these courses in December, and the course will be primarily a course from the American College of Cosmetic Gynecology, and the course will be held here in India, which will be accredited from this division also, because we will be giving the training. And I would have the president of the American College coming, and myself, we will be extensively training the doctors into the right surgical and non-surgical techniques of cosmetic gynecology. And also we will open training for the reconstructive part. We want, I'm continuing it, we want women to be trained by well-trained doctors, not by cocks.
Right. So the last thing which we'd like to talk about, can you give us any health advice? Because this video will be directed to the Arabic audience. So what would be your healthy advice for them as a specialist?
I have a lot of respect for my friends and brothers and sisters in the Arabic world, because they're the one who know how to live life. When I say live life, they know how to enjoy life, how to live their sexuality, how to express their sexuality, and how to live good quality of life, because it is the quality of life which matters. It is the life in your years. So all the women who feel that, they now, over a period of time, they have given childbirth, they have done vaginal childbirth, and they feel that their vaginas are loose, they're not getting orgasms, their partners, the Arabic men who feel that their sexual partners, their wives, their girlfriends are now loose, and they don't get that same kind of sexual pleasure.
We have this problem that the husband can marry a younger wife. This is a part of our cultural problem or stigma. So right now, you can help them.
I absolutely, because you see, you fall in love with a woman, and then only because you're sexually not getting satisfied, and sexual satisfaction is a very important part in life. So just because you're not getting sexual gratification, now at times you end up leaving the women you love, and getting a younger woman as a wife, primarily for those things. But if I can get you your wife, or the women you love, or even if you have number of wives as is permitted in your culture, so the same number of wives, if I can bring them back to what they were when you slept with them for the first time, or when she was 16 years or 18 years of age, think of that. Do you actually need to get a younger wife?
That's very nice. Well said, sir. We will
those things.
We thank you very much for
it. In an absolutely perfectly scientific medical manner, not like quackery. We are not going to just use some gizmos. The precise surgery to bring her back to what she was when she was 16.
Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate this talks and whatever you have given us from knowledge, and we hopefully will be seeing you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Faris. Pleasure to be speaking to you.